Hey Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Today we are looking at, and it's still a little weird to me to see Nickelodeon on these Mirage Comics turtles. I understand they own the whole thing, but it's just odd. We're looking at the Utrom from the Mirage Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line from NECA. Not to be confused with Krang. Obviously Krang was inspired by the Utroms in every way. But they are very, very different in those original comic books, which I highly recommend you check out. Some of the greatest comics of all time, and my original starting point with the Ninja Turtles. Narrative-wise, I'm fairly certain the figures showed up first, and then I immediately sought out the comics. I believe that was the order, but honestly, I can't remember. Okay. So, we got some product shots on the back. Everything looks great. I love the comic styling. I love the sort of dot matrix looking pixelization or whatever you call it. It's great looking packaging. And then, of course, on the bottom, you have the credits for everybody that helped bring this piece of art to life. Let's hope that the Utrom is a little sturdier than Fugitoid, which I reviewed here on the channel many months ago, and which broke during the review. And I got a replacement, but I still haven't opened it because I'm a little paranoid at this point. I'm Fugitoid shy. I'm NECA Bendy Arm shy, shall we say? All right, let's toss that box over to the side. We've got our beautiful panel in the background, which has been the same, just fantastic looking New York City street landscape in each of these boxes, and I'm just happy every time I see it. I don't need them to ever put anything different in these because this is beautiful. All right, we have two trays here, tons of accessories. I unboxed Splinter recently and had not even realized really that he came with all the baby turtles and the ooze and everything else. The TCRI ooze, which the new movie, by the way, which is wonderful. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, absolutely fantastic, knocks it out of the park. I personally rate it higher than Across the Spider-Verse. That's right, I said it. Part of that, I'll admit, is because Across the Spider-Verse is not a full narrative, therefore cannot achieve as high a score as a movie that is a full narrative. But anyway, Mutant Mayhem is fantastic. I highly recommend it, and I really, really hope that NECA makes figures as well, because that movie's unique art style deserves the NECA treatment. What Playmates is putting out is fine as toys, but those designs are incredible, and they deserve the works of art that NECA produces. Right. Those accessories out of the way. We'll take a look at them in a minute. We'll get we've got tons of little plastic bendies. You guys know how much I love them. Well, as I've said before, NECA often uses a much stretchier plastic than some of the other toy companies, so these are not quite as much of a hassle to cut through as some of the other toy manufacturers that use an extremely rigid, non-pliable plastic for these things for some reason, so that you feel like you're gonna cut a hole in your finger trying to get enough give to cut through those stupid things. All right. So, figure first. Let's get our little Utrom out of here. So we already saw the Utrom that was included with Splinter, which actually I happen to still have sitting right over here. And as you can see, it is a completely different and much larger Utrom than this one. Wow, way different. The sculpting and everything, like, these are entirely different This one is much smoother. The one that comes with the robot body has much more texture on it. The eyes are sunken back in, whereas this one has more buggy eyes. Very interesting. I'm glad I had this sitting here to do a little comparison. And obviously, this one is not going to fit into the robot body. I didn't realize those would be that different. So just great little, not as spongy. Well, it's a little rubbery. It would have been fun if it was even rubberier, but it's fine. It's fine. And then our robot body, which, as I've said over and over and over again, NECA has gotten much better with their articulation in the last probably 4 or 5 years, to where it's no longer as terrifying to operate the joints as it once was. Now, that is not to say that you shouldn't still exercise extreme caution when moving NECA joints, because you should. But it's much better than it used to be. So we've got a bicep swivel. We've got a very limited shoulder just because of the shape up here. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me too much. And then we've got the wrist. Of course, some interchangeable hands. So that wrist is typical peg with a disc construction. And there is, interestingly, you've got a swivel waist, which, a cut joint on a robot is fine. That's not a problem at all. It does not need to maintain an organic profile. And then you've got, what's interesting is a ball joint here at the torso above where the Utrom controls from. So that's pretty neat. The head is just the neck. Unlike most NECA figures, the neck is fused. Well, is it? Yes, the neck is part of the torso. So the head movement is still really good, though, and it looks like it's just on a double barbell. But it's still got a really great range. You got to wonder why other companies can't get as much range out of a simple double barbell connection point. All right. So there's your upper body, lower body, standard NECA hips with a swivel at the top of that thigh piece that moves really nicely, actually. Not a huge range, but, these are not Olympian droids. These are, in my mind anyway, these are very... they're a step above C-3PO as far as mobility. They're not doing gymnastics and stuff. And then the foot, standard modern articulation on the ankle. See there. But beautifully, the plastic is very, very sturdy feeling. It's great. It's that, I guess, heavy PVC is what I think of this as. It has a thickness and a durability, but it is somewhat pliable. It doesn't feel rigid like it's going to break, but it is sturdy. But just the deco is unbelievable. The way that they've recreated the look of the art from those early comics is just gorgeous. Just a sharp, sharp sculpt, tons of lines and detailing, and then the paint just accentuates everything. I love the white on here is the gleaming of the metallic body, which is why you've got it up here. It's catching the light. This is supposed to be, again, much like C-3PO, super shiny, like chromey. And they have, painted it to achieve that look as best as possible while retaining the look of the Mirage comics. So let's get our Utrom back into the torso. He sort of clips into place, so he stays put in there. He's just a little taller than the ridge here, so he pops in to that little cavity. Looks great. There we go. We've got an alternate portrait with some destruction going on. Very nicely detailed robot innards. I like the eye light just hanging out there. It is gruesome in a robot-y way. Let's see how easily this switches out. That's making me a little nervous. How big is that peg? Or that ball, rather. Yeah, I'm going to heat that up before I switch them out. That is my advice to you. If you get any resistance at all with a NECA product, you want to heat it up before you swap it out. You've got a couple of C-grips to interact with the tools that were included. And then you've got a couple of blaster hands. Look at the individually sculpted fingers. Tremendous. So let's see if we can swap those out. We've got the default hands are just closed fists. And the hands are a bit pliable. So once it's time to put those accessories in them, it should slide right in without trouble. So the hands swap out very easily. We'll put those over to the side. We have got a little beverage container for the Utrom to sip out of. It looked like he had, or it had, a little hole in there, or a little gap in the teeth. I'm not sure. But anyway, but not a hand, I'm realizing, to hold this little container. I'm trying to remember. I feel like one of these might have been sitting on a table when the turtles walk in and see it, so it might have been this situation. You know what? It also looks like a Squidbilly. It just hit me early, right? I was not a giant fan of that. It's fine, but I wasn't like a dedicated watcher of Squidbillies. But he definitely looks like a Squidbilly. He needs a little hat. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Hang on. This is, sometimes it's an advantage to still have stuff sitting around after you do a review. Well, I didn't even review Short Round. I haven't been reviewing the Indiana Jones figures. So there you go. There's your Squidbillies figure right there. I realized he would not be wearing a Yankees hat. But that's fine. That's funny. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Sometimes I get sidetracked. That's what happens when there's a giant pile of things off to my left that needs to be put away. Comes the great-looking blaster. Again, no detail left unpainted. Fantastic sculpt. And just that unique style that Eastman and Laird had. And really to this day, the Ninja Turtles have retained this aesthetic that is, it's not really 50s sci-fi, really almost 70s sci-fi, but unique to those early Turtles comics, but is carried throughout the franchise, I feel. Okay, let's get this in his hand, maybe. Those fingers don't quite want to wrap around it as easily as I was hoping. I mean, they're very flexible. You can see I'm having no trouble flexing those fingers out, so it's just a matter of getting that into the right spot. There we go. And then he has also got, or it has also got, a wrench-like tool that, again, you can see complete with some nice deco on it. And then another tool of some sort. Just full of sculpted detail, looks incredible. The wrench is much more identifiable to my eyes, so I'm just going to stick that wrench in his hand just because. And there it is. That is our Utrom. I would love to have like 10 of these, but at the price point, what are they, $37 now? I think these are up to, which, by the way, I think is a bargain for the craftsmanship that NECA is putting in front of us, these are absolutely worth the price, but I can't justify troop building something like this as much as I would love to. So there it is, our Utrom pal. Not as much a villain as they first appear to be. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about Needless Things. Go read some Ninja Turtle comics, or just any comics, really. But if you haven't read those Mirage comics, get into them. They hold up. To this day, they hold up. They're fantastic. So come back next time for more toy reviews. Until then, I love being a robot and a Squidbilly. Blah, 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 y'all.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.